Hi everyone, this is Timothy, one of the co-hosts of CineTalk. Just giving my couple of little warnings that there's some spoiler talk in this, considering we're talking about the Academy Awards and the movies we've seen involved in them. Also, please be advised and forgive my robo voice. Audio editing was a bit of a challenge for this one, and it is not perfect. We're still finding our niche for how exactly we're going to do it, so please forgive our mistakes along the way.
Hey guys, we're here. We are ready to talk about the Oscars. Our raw and honest thoughts, how we feel, were we disappointed? Was it predictable? Was it surprising? And honestly, the answer is yes to all of those.
It kind of is, actually.
It was like genuinely surprising. I thought there was going to be a couple surprises, like, oh, wow. But there was some real moments where my jaw was kind of on the floor.
Yeah, same.
But
I think
it was interesting.
There's a couple specific ones that I was like, no.
Yeah, no, there were some juicy moments that happened tonight, and especially near the ending for me. But before we get into this, I feel like this would be kind of fun. This is off the cuff. I did not even tell Tim. Yeah, off the cuff. Honestly, this is from my heart. I want to know from each of us, like, the briefest summary of, like, how we felt the Oscars went. And I'll go first. Just the briefest summary. It was really well paced, even though despite being 20-ish minutes longer than it should have been, which is typical for the Oscars, I felt like the pacing for it wasn't as dragging as it usually is. And Jimmy Kimmel did a fine job. I thought he actually had some really, really good comedic timing. But yeah, overall, I thought it was well-paced, executed, it was funny. People did their stuff. They didn't overstay. The song performances were good. Overall, I actually enjoyed the show, and I think it's one of the best Oscars in a long time, because my biggest complaint has always been pacing with them and overstaying their welcome, which, granted, yeah, they did, but it's typical, and they really should fix that piece. Like, if there's one big nitpick that I would say, they really need to make sure it's 3 hours or below, because it's a lot. And I get it. There is a lot that they have to do, especially with the song performances, which some people even think they should just take out entirely. And this year proved those people are stupid and they need to keep the songs, at least the great ones. There was a couple that I was like, okay.
Well, you can't just have a couple of the nominees because you like them more than the other.
I know. And that's the reason, like, somebody said, like, an idea is just choose one song. But then it's like, well, if they choose one song to perform, it kind of gives it away probably which one's going to win. Unless they're just like, hey, we'll let this one song perform because we feel bad. Mm-hmm. But overall, that's, like, briefest, quick, like, 2-minute thoughts of how I felt the Oscars went. It had some surprises. It was kind of predictable, but it was well paced, even though it did overstay its welcome in length. Yeah, that. Like, where were you at when it comes to the perspective of, like, your enjoyment of the Oscars? Did you feel the same way? Do you feel like totally different from my side of things on viewing it?
It did feel pretty brisk. You know, it felt like it schmooved along. But yeah, I'm ready to get into this.
Okay.
When it was about to end, I was like, has it really been? I looked at my clock. It was like, it's only been 2 hours. Then I realized I didn't change that clock. It'd been 3.
Hey,
so
that's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Also, Happy Mario Day. March 10th, MAR10. It is considered Mario Day. So,
nice.
Happy Mario
Mother's Day in UK.
Everyone.
It's Mother's Day in UK as well, so there's a lot There's a lot happening right now.
Yep. New movie coming out, 2026.
Yep. So, that makes sense why they made the announcement today. That's genius.
Yeah, it's category number 1 was actress in a supporting role. I don't feel like we need to read through each individual nominee like before, but
yeah,
the hype was with Divine, and she got it, and the look on her face just made me so happy that she got it. I didn't see that movie. I didn't see the Holdovers yet, but I knew that the trends were on her side.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic film. I've only watched it once. I saw it in theaters, luckily. I didn't see it on Peacock, which it is streaming there. I highly recommend the film. I may even own it one day. It's one of those films that feels like an 80s, like, classic Christmas movie that you could just throw on every, like, once or twice a year. It's one of those it's a comfort film. And I think Alexander Payne directed it. He did a phenomenal job directing Divine. She was absolutely, if not the standout, she was in the top 2 of the standouts with that film next to Paul Giamatti.
I got this one right.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't. Shoot, I left my ballot downstairs. Whatever. I know I got this one right for sure because it was an easy. Like honestly, I literally said this out loud when watching it. I'm like, oh good, they're just getting the predictable one out of the way. Just give it to her. You already said the name.
I'm not gonna say how many I got right or how many I got total. Here's what I'll tell you right now. 53 movies were nominated for any award, including shorts. 53 movies. I have seen 10.7 of them. I started one last night and I just haven't finished it. Not that it's bad. I got tired.
Oh, man.
4.7 of them were nominated for Best Picture. And at the end, I'll say how many I got right. Because I do take into consideration, when I guess how many I got right, I think it's important how many I've seen. There was one year I got 18 right. I saw 2 of them. Both of them were Black Panther and Infinity War. And I know that sounds stupid.
Marvel movies.
I know, and I know that sounds stupid, but the point was that's how predictable the trends were. Last year, I got 12. And, I like to be able to guess them right, but I also like when the trends get bucked a bit, and last year was kind of refreshing for that. And we can kind of get more into the trends as we go along. But going with the trends, Divine was high talks for the winner for this, and she got it, and I'm really happy for her.
She did a great job with the speech, and I'm a Christian, so it was kind of cool for her. Like literally, the first thing that she said was God, and I was like, I love you.
She said God is good.
I love you. God is good.
God is so good.
She literally, I think she made Alicia tear up. She watched the whole thing with me. Yeah, I was like, wow, we're already going off on an emotional start. Okay, thank you, Divine.
Animated short film. Oh, the other thing she said she used like her grandma's glasses or something for the movie.
Yeah,
I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That was really cool. And then somebody said to her, like, seeing the world through her eyes. I'm like, whoa, that's actually pretty deep and kind of beautiful. And you just said the next one after this, I'm more curious to talk about.
I'm curious to talk about this too, and I haven't seen any of these. Animated short film.
Yeah, I have not seen any. But now I want to.
War is Over, inspired by the music of John and Yoko. Dave Mullins and Brad Booker win.
Was that their son? The one that talked at the very end, who was like, yeah, I want to thank this for my mom. I'm assuming he was talking about Yoko. Dang. That would have been interesting. Because, I have no idea what it's about. Obviously, I'm not going to lie to you guys, people that are watching. I never really care about this category, but I know that I should. Maybe not should. I know that I want to.
For I love all equally, and there's no hate in my heart. Now, here's what I didn't know with War is Over. I guessed it, honestly, because of John and Yoko. Oh, that's why I guessed it. I was like, that's why I guessed it. I was like, that was one of those guesses where I was like, Hollywood, Los Angeles, old music. It was just totally one of those things where I was like, I'm gonna throw this spaghetti at the wall, and the odds are like 65% that it's gonna stick to the wall.
I didn't even look it up. Like for that one, I was like, yeah, it's gonna win. It's John.
But then, Joseph. He gets up there. And he says, Peter Jackson, we couldn't have done it without you.
Weta, yeah.
And then he said Weta. I don't think upset is the right word for what I got. I think maybe what I'm looking for is... suddenly I felt like, oh, this short film was stacked. Like, not stacked as in, like, arranged, but, like, Weta Workshop worked on a short film and submitted it for an Oscar. How is it not gonna get it?
Yeah.
And then they gave it John and Yoko. How's it not gonna get it? Like, after it got it, I was like, oh yeah, if I knew all this, I would have been like more certain as I crossed this one in. It doesn't mean their movie was bad. It just means that they
blessed.
Yeah, extra blessed.
Extra blessed.
Now I don't know what all the other ones had for resources. But it's just hard for me to grapple with the idea that it could have been like as packed as these resources were.
When I heard Weta, I was like, "Ooh, that kind of
when I heard that too,
I got me curious to watch it.
When I heard that too, I was kind of like, "Oh."
I had a different reaction. I was like, "Oh, I'm actually kind of curious to watch it now because they like create some pretty crazy stuff." I mean, obviously,
Weta? Yeah,
but like it's obviously quality. So visually, it's gonna look amazing, whatever the heck it's about. John and Yoko, I'm assuming. But man, we gotta talk about the next one though.
Yep, we do. This is one of the big ones that I know you and I might clash a little bit on.
Oh, and I'm gonna let you talk about this first, man, because I know that you
want me to talk first. Okay.
You're a happy camper. I know you are.
That's not really what this is about. I don't want to brag. I don't want to boast, but you. Animated feature.
You jerk.
Animated feature film.
I don't say stuff like that to my friends.
Animated feature film. Ooh! I got it. The Boy and the Heron is the winner, with Hayao Miyazaki and Toshio Suzuki winning. This does make me happy. I believe that a sheer entertainment value, I've not seen Nimona, Elemental, or Robot Dreams. I was fairly certain Elemental was not going to get it. I knew Ramona is it's a little bit of a critical darling, but it didn't make the same kind of impact that Boy or Across the Spider-Verse made. Robot Dreams looks gorgeous. I just don't think it was going to get it.
I actually want to watch that one too, Robot Dreams, and I still need to watch Nimona. Those are the only two that I have not seen on this list.
It looks beautiful. I couldn't tell you what it's about, but it's just, I know I sound like a robot when I'm like, the algorithm, the trends, this, that. But sorry, like the trends just were not pushing Robot Dreams at all. I believe that sheer entertainment value would go to Across the Spider-Verse. But I understand why The Boy and the Heron got it. Also, the movie had the notion of it being Hayao Miyazaki's last movie again. We had this prospect before. They thought The Wind Rises was going to be his last movie. It did not win, but it was nominated. So I don't know if they just really thought, oh, this is going to be his last one, last chance to do it. But having seen the top two contenders for this award, I can totally see why The Boy and the Heron won, even if Across the Spider-Verse was more entertaining. I think it was earned. I think this movie earned it. I think this movie deserved it. But I also think that this category is probably better than it has been. Honestly, I love so many of the movies Pixar has put out. I adore them. But when it comes to the Academy, I don't know if it's a money thing or if it's a bureaucracy thing or something. It just kind of feels like, oh, Disney. Pixar did a thing? Sure, they're in. Whatever it was. They're in. They did a thing.
That's what I said out loud watching. I'm like, oh, Disney.
Yeah, like when Brave won, I was like, let's all calm down a little bit.
My feelings towards The Boy and the Heron, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, obviously one I like more than the other, and I can say that because I haven't seen the other one, and I actually am very excited to watch it, and now even more so, it won, which means some people that are artsy think it's better, so...
Yeah, okay, I got a little bit of a bone to pick with you on this, actually, but go on.
I'll say this. I know I'm saying that in a mean way, but it's true. I mean, the Oscar people are artsy. They like look for things like the key word that you said is what they look for, profound, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. Here's the thing though, I have not seen the movie, so I can't so this is Joseph saying this without seeing the movie. So people, back off. If you're hating me right now, if you're like a full-on boy and heron lover, I'm actually excited to watch it. So
now you are.
I just want to say that. Well, I've already been excited because it was already winning all these things, and I like, Studio Ghibli. I like 2D animation. I like the variations that they're trying to go for, and callbacks to old styles that, seems like it's kind of coming back and becoming a normal or something that people are craving again, which is creativity and not this 3D motion garbage that honestly has been recycled over and over again, and it's kind of becoming numbing to people.
All right.
Yeah, I said it. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse mixes in like CGI animation, so many different variations in a way that I've never seen before. Like, I thought Into the Spider-Verse was amazing. I'm one of those people that think Across the Spider-Verse takes it up a notch further, and I already thought Into the Spider-Verse was like a near perfect film. Across the Spider-Verse, just to me, I literally said this before. I'm like, I'm not going to be surprised if The Boy and the Heron win. I'm not going to be surprised. And then they announced it. I'm like, yep.
The Boy and the Heron.
What? No! And probably one because it's profound. It has themes that are a bit more serious, I'm assuming, or at least in the context for the Oscars, for the people that they need to convince to say, hey, our film is better than this animated film. But the final thoughts that I have with this category is I think Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was not just a great film, it was a revolutionary film. It was something that has never been seen before in the display of animation. And I think the story was compelling, but to me, I'm not even there, and I think a lot of people will agree with this. People, they watch it for the cameos and those funny, cool moments like Donald Glover showing up as the live-action
that was great.
Prowler.
But anyway.
That was great. But people liked the movie not because of those moments. They liked the movie because action without narrative purpose, this is a quote from a great YouTuber, action without narrative purpose is just noise. And that movie completely derails that statement. There is so much purpose behind the character of Miles Morales. Even Miguel, like the whole reason why he started this organization to stop all these canon events, it was something that a lot of people can grasp on. Like the multiverse concept to a lot of people is very complicated. But the way Phil Lord and the team tackled that story was so thorough, so well to receive and not be overblown with all of this nostalgia plot and look at this reference and look at this multiverse plot point. No, they found a way to narratively paint it across to an audience that clearly loved the film for nerds like me and for normal movie-going audiences, which it doubled the box office of the first film, which obviously says people like it. And then also the critic rating was maybe higher than the first one, I believe. But yeah, overall, those are my thoughts between it. I have not seen The Boy and the Heron. I genuinely thought that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was going to win. I really thought it was going to win, but I wasn't surprised. No! I wasn't entirely surprised. It did shook me a little bit. I was kind of shooked. But, yeah. I was kind of shooked. But, and the last sentence I'll say is, yeah, I'm disappointed.
Cool, I'm going to pick two bones with you then. Bone number one.
Do it.
Joseph Curtis, the movie critic. This movie's been out since December.
Oh, yeah.
And you never reviewed it.
It was barely in any theaters around me, unless it was Seattle or Shoreline.
Bone number...
That's why.
Bone number 2 to pick with you.
Mm-hmm.
Is this text message you sent me.
Oh, man. Let's get it.
I said, guess you should see it or something, and you said, I will now for sure, since the artsy people love it.
Yep.
Now, next year, let's pretend that Dune 2 sweeps the Oscars. You would not be calling them the artsy people. You'd be saying they were objectively correct. You'd be
say
saying
actually
that they're
both.
ahead of
I
the
would say
curve
both.
and they got the trends down and they're right. Dune 2's great at everything. When the Oscars agrees with you, it's great. But when they don't and it's your fringe pick, oh, they're artsy, they're just this, they're just that. I'm not saying the Oscars are not that. What I'm saying is that you are inconsistent.
I would say I've always said they're artsy, even with the picks that I love. Like I've said that, bro. I even said that about. Oh no, never mind. I don't want to bring up that year.
Original screenplay. I do have a couple things to say here. The winner for original screenplay was Anatomy of a Fall. I got this right, and then an hour before the awards went on, I switched it, so I got it wrong.
Dude, I switched it too.
You did?
Because I knew. Here's the thing. Here's the reason why. People that are maybe watching, I knew Anatomy of Fall was gonna win. I just knew it. But my heart said put this instead. You don't know it's the Oscars. They could pull a plot twist. And guess what? My heart was wrong. Dang it! So I lost a point.
What did you switch it to?
Past Lives.
I switched mine to The Holdovers.
Hey, that's a good pick, though. That's a good pick. Holdovers, fantastic. But Past Lives, man, I really wanted Celine's song to win at least one thing. Just one.
I was mad because I would have, I would have had an extra one right. And I didn't.
Yeah.
And you know how one way you can kind of tell what's going to win sometimes? It's not every time, but it is most of the time. It's because a chunk of the people who vote on these awards are in the room. You can tell by the applause as they're announcing each one. Yeah. Occasionally occasionally that'll get it. But the slow claps never get it.
They're like, yeah, that one movie. Elemental, that was good.
So I haven't seen any of these 5 movies. None of them. So I really have nothing to say about this. Nothing to say that would be of any valid contribution other than my ear was close enough to the ground to get the trend, and my heart betrayed me, and I let it.
Yeah, same here. Literally, same thing, dude. I literally was like, they're going to give it to Celine's song because she's a first-time writer and as well director. She just did such a phenomenal job. And also, my heart will always be forever for that film because that was my first ever, event movie for, some kind of critic thing from last year. I will never forget that experience. And also, it helped that the movie was phenomenal. But, yeah, I knew it was Anatomy of Fall, just from the trends. And I've seen that movie. I actually own it because I didn't want to... So, get this. To watch the film, it was either $20 to rent or $25 to buy.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm just going to buy $15 difference. I'd be like, sure. But no, I just bought it. And here's the thing. I'm never going to watch the movie again. I respect the film.
Didn't you give it a 10 out of 10?
No.
Oh,
if anything, I gave it I would give it the highest an 8.
Okay.
It's still really good. It's a really well-made film. Maybe a 7.5. It was really good. I respect it, but it just wasn't a film that I could see myself going back to or seeing the whole big, oh my God, I get why everybody loves this movie. It's it was just a good movie. And this always happens with me in the Oscars. And this was that film for me where it's why does everyone praise this film? It was good, but it wasn't that good. And it always happens for me. And I can have an opinion because I actually watched it. Even I watched it with Alicia and she was like, so this is the foreign film that'll probably win Best International. And I'm like, yep. I don't get it. I do because artsy. But I felt like there was better films in that category with it. So good for them. I'm really happy for somebody winning something, and obviously it was actually a pretty good speech, and I really felt the emotions from them when they were talking. But yeah, controversial opinion. Barbie should have been in this category. Barbie should have been an original, and it wasn't, which I think is dumb. But I'm excited to talk about the other one, man.
Well, it's
this
an
was
adapted
actually a
screenplay.
twist.
Writing adapted screenplay.
Yeah, this was a twist, dude.
The winner is American Fiction. Sounds like you're pretty eager to talk about this.
Yes, please. Oh! I'm so happy right now. I genuinely, this is one of those surprises where I was glad that this happened because Cord Jefferson, I believe it's his first film that he wrote, his first film directing. I know that for sure, 100%. And wow. Like, dude, I literally was so overjoyed, and it's like one of those surprises where, like, you know, you're hanging out with your buddies, and for some reason you're all there, and then right when you're getting your food, and you sit down, somebody's walking up next to you, and then taps your shoulder and you look right behind, and it's one of your best friends that you haven't seen in years, and you're just so overjoyed. That's literally the feeling I had. It was so unexpected. I didn't see it coming, but I'm glad it did, and Cord Jefferson deserved this. Like, here's the thing, Barbie was great. I wish it would have won for original, but it deserved that. I really think it deserved that. Better than Anatomy of Fall, script-wise, I think, had a lot more to say for society, I feel like. That's just my opinion. Oppenheimer was great, though. I believe I put Oppenheimer. That was my choice, because I'm like, it's Christopher Nolan. Like, it's a great film. The script was fantastic. Poor Things was a second choice of mine. American Fiction was my third. But I'm so happy because it's such an important story, and in a way where I was like, I think Alicia and I, we watched the film, and there were so many scenes where we didn't know if we were supposed to laugh or not, because it told a lot of truths in a lot of awkward situations where I think the writer-director did a fantastic job portraying, because I felt like those moments were exactly supposed to make you feel the way you feel. And it was a story, man, that I highly recommend that you watch, because it like, I was watching it, and this was like 2 months ago. I said, this is one of the best scripts in a film that I've ever heard. It just was like the experience I haven't had in a film, like this kind of film, in a long time. It was funny. It was endearing. It had a lot to say. Phenomenal performance by Jeffrey Wright, which I was kind of rooting for low-key to win Best Actor, but I already had somebody else in my heart to win. Yeah, I love it. I loved everything about this category. I felt like it was... And last thing I'll say, the speech was phenomenal. What he was talking about, one of my favorite speeches of the night from Cord. Just talking about how, like, you know, like the position that he's in, and he's grateful for it, and how, like, this is a time for him to, like, inspire others. And, like, that's the whole point of, like, even the movie, is that, like, it's telling stories that are important, not letting other people overshadow you, and, like, you can do this. It was really, really good. And honestly, his speech shows that he's a great writer. He knows how to articulate himself, and I can't wait to watch his other stuff. I really hope it's not, like, I hope he doesn't take, like, 5 or 10 years to make his next film. I really think he has a lot going for him.
I got this one right. The script felt really refined. Like it had been gone through with a fine-tooth comb.
Smooth as butter.
Yeah, it was a very good script. And the script did such a good job melding with the camera in that movie, where quiet moments felt loud.
Yeah.
It was very, very good. It won. I'm glad it won. I have seen 3.7 out of 5 of these nominees. And I can't, I don't know. I can't say I'd be mad if any of these won. Like, these are all good.
No, yeah.
But American Fiction had a kind of finessing to it that felt like it was going to carry it to the win.
Yeah, it just felt different.
Makeup and hairstyling.
Yes.
This went to Poor Things. I got this wrong, and I feel like I shouldn't have. You had said Golda, so I put Golda and put a question mark next to it. Then I did some research, and after the research, I was like, okay, Golda makes sense. But Golda made sense to me kind of for the same reason Poor Things would make sense, except there's just more of that reason in Poor Things than there is in Golda.
I originally was going to get this wrong. This was a last-minute change. I had Maestro because I thought they did a great job with Bradley Cooper. They really made him look like Leonard Bernstein. And but then I was like really thinking about it, like as a whole project, not just one person, as a whole project for makeup and hairstyling. I realized in that stupid moment, I'm like, oh yeah, Poor Things. Like, to me, I was like, Poor Things is going to be the winner. Like really thinking about the film and what they accomplished, that team, it just made sense. I think on details, I think Maestro, it was really cool what they did with Bradley Cooper. Because he basically goes from his young 30s, and then the movie ends with him in his 70s. And it didn't look like, oh, that looks like makeup. No, it genuinely looked like Bradley Cooper if he was 70-something years old. But, yeah, those are just my thoughts and feelings on makeup and hairstyling. I'm not entirely passionate about that category, but I'm glad they won. At least on that front. And, Golda, the only thing I saw was, the clip with Helen Mirren, which seemed like a good amount of work, though. They definitely did a good amount to her. But that was all they showed, was that example. And I'm like, I wonder if there was more to showcase for that film other than just the same thing they kind of did with Maestro. It's like, hey, here's this main character.
Yep. Production design.
Good segue, man.
Thank you. Production design went to Poor Things. I believe I got this wrong. I believe I said
I thought Barbie.
Barbie.
Yeah. To me, Barbie, then I thought about it again, of course, Poor Things make sense, but Barbie, man, it just...
Yeah.
They did a good job.
I have seen 4.7 out of these 5 nominees.
Oh, you saw Napoleon?
I have seen somewhere between 70% and 100% of Napoleon.
And there's still a 4-hour cut coming out.
It's really fun
TV.
to see if you'll eventually at some point figure out which movie I saw 70% of. Production design went... Yeah, it's Poor Things. So, Poor Things. Poor Things won. Poor Things is an interesting win to me. I want to see the behind the scenes for this movie, because I'm not saying that a lot of green screen should ding you for production design, but I'm really curious to know what percentage of this was.
Same here. Yeah,
I'm curious to know. From what I've seen of it so far, it is very well designed. I've kind of so far taken the movie to be this feels like a fable. Kind of an extreme fable, and at several points a very unsettling fable, but a fable. This is a movie where people don't talk like people normally talk, don't act how people normally act. A lot of people who meet Bella are just oh, she seems interesting. Okay. But anyway, production design. I'm in the weeds. More on that later. It is well designed. It is well put together. And it does feel, as a whole, cohesive in what it sets out to do. So I understand it. I get it. I just got it wrong.
Yeah, I believe I got it wrong too. I said Barbie, and I think all these are great. Oppenheimer had some pretty good, I think, production design. Napoleon did too, surprisingly. When I really thought about it, I'm like, Napoleon? Oh yeah, actually they did a really decent job, immersing us during that time period with all the buildings and the war setting. It was really good. Killers of the Flower Moon, decent job as well. Transporting you into the terrible racist
I would say
times.
better than a decent job.
Oh, it was great. And Barbie, I wish won because I think they did a great job bringing Barbie Land to life, and they clearly poured a lot of time and effort into that, which obviously all these other films did, but genuinely felt like Barbie was going to get it. Poor Things, though, I agree with you, where it's how much CGI compared to building sets? Where is that ratio? Which I'm not trying to knock off, all the interior design that they did in, the William Dafoe creepy house. I love that, the whole opening of that. And then where she goes later on with the boat and all these different environments. It was good. I'm just curious too of like, what did the behind the scenes look like actually with this film? And maybe I'll be totally surprised, like, wow, never mind. Shut up, Joseph.
Yeah. And I mean, let's
winner.
just jump to costume design too, which was lovingly presented by mostly naked John Cena.
Dude.
Which was so funny when he's like, all right, and for costume. But costume design, Poor Things.
Poor Things, 3 wins in a row. 3.
Again, I have seen 4.7 of these movies.
But that's crazy. 3 wins in a row. I was like, dang.
I'm pretty sure I got this one wrong too. A lot of things that I thought like, oh, Barbie. They were like, no, Poor Things.
No. We hate Barbie.
Where I was like, oh, bright pink optimism. The Academy said no. Dark, bleak, gothic fable.
Sex. We like sex.
International feature went to
predictable.
The Zone of Interest. I got this correct.
Which I need to see. Yes,
I got this correct. And yes, predictable, but not in a bad way. It's just
yeah.
The Zone of Interest was Anatomy of a Fall a foreign film?
Yes, I believe though that the reason why they didn't nominate it was because it was already nominated for Best Picture, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, Parasite had the same thing. It was up for Best Picture and International Feature, so I don't know what the big deal about that is. Like, I don't care if it's nominated for both. If it was one of those things, I think that's silly. But if Anatomy for a Fall was nominated, this would have been harder. But it not being there, I do want to see Perfect Days because I actually heard it was very good. I saw a preview for the Teacher's Lounge when me and my mother went to go see, I think when we saw American Fiction. We saw a preview for Teacher's Lounge. The preview ended and I looked at her and I was like, I still don't know what this movie's about. The trailer was not helpful in figuring out what the movie was about at all. Zone of Interest, I gotta see, but I'm not looking forward to seeing it. I am honestly, just when I read what it's about, I was shocked when I read it was PG-13. I was like, oh, God.
It's PG-13?
It is PG-13. I was shocked when I read that because just the concept alone is mortifying. I already know that I should let you talk first for the next one. Best Supporting Actor. The winner is Robert Downey Jr. as Strauss in Oppenheimer.
All I gotta say is...
We knew it! You don't need Marvel! Marvel needs you!
He don't need you, baby. And this was a performance, man, that, like... This was probably the most predictable one to me. Because he's been winning nothing but bangers, as in the same award, just over and over and over again. And of course, he carried himself in a way that was so Bobby Jr., that was so like him, and we all love him for it because he's cocky, he's flavorful, he knows what to say, he always loves talking up his wife, Susan, like she's like the godsend in his life, and I love that. I love how he does that every single time. I love them. They're such a great power couple in Hollywood, but I just think he really deserved it. Like, and everybody was great. Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction, great. Robert De Niro, haunting. Ryan Gosling, if there was a second pick for me, it would be Ryan Gosling because he had to do a lot in that role. Mark Ruffalo is a triumph in Poor Things. It could be my top 2 favorite like performances.
Did you read they played a practical joke on him for that movie?
Really?
Yeah, what? Mark Ruffalo didn't feel good about his performance, and he thought he was going to be replaced by someone like Oscar Isaac. So I can't remember if it was the director or something.
Editor's note, it was Willem Dafoe.
But they pulled Oscar Isaac in on the joke, and they pulled him into an office with Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, my God.
To fake fire him for a prank and tell him he was going to be replaced.
Hey, Oscar here? Yeah, he's going to take your role. And Oscar was like, I'm down.
So,
dang. No, but he was great. He was. I know you're not done with it, but man,
I'm not yet, and he is doing a really good job. The character he plays, very early on, I was like, this guy.
He's so funny.
Guy.
He's so stupid.
And it takes a good actor for me to be like, nope, this guy right away. I have seen 4.7 of these performances. I believe the most okay, Mark Ruffalo's performance is probably one of the most unsettling to me, but unsettling in a different way is Robert De Niro, because at one point I was like, I feel like a drink with this guy would be pleasant, and 20 seconds later, I'm like, what a bastard.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Like, I can't believe I ever thought I could get a drink with you. And I got that one correct. I don't know if I said that before. All right, next up. Visual effects. The winner is Godzilla -1. I got this correct. Yep. It was one of the very few winners of the night, which made me react very loudly.
Godzilla.
Yes! Yes!
They even
oh, that makes me so happy.
I love it.
This was a very small video effects team. If I'm not mistaken, there were like 15 people on this team.
Yeah.
Editor's note, the budget was $15 million. The video effects team was 35 people.
This was not a big team with a ton of resources. And I love it when a small team with not a ton of resources comes out on top. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like beating Guardians of the Galaxy, The Creator, Napoleon with Ridley Scott on their team. Mission Impossible has been a box office juggernaut for like 30 years now. And -1's just like, hey. This team worked hard on not just like a Godzilla movie, but a genuinely great movie as a whole. My mother cried at this movie. During the credits, she looked at me and she's like, cried that Godzilla was not on my bingo card for 2023. And I'm really happy this team got it. I was so happy to see them just jump. The video of them, I sent it to my mom. It made her so happy. There's a video of them reacting to being nominated. Not even winning, just being nominated.
That was so
it was
precious.
So sweet. And it was so, like, this team was so close together. And when they won, I was all about it, man. All about it.
I'll just keep it brief for this one. I mean, it was hilarious that they like decked out with their like Godzilla heels out on the red carpet. They brought their Godzilla mini dolls basically while the guy was trying to figure out how to get his like speech out. He had the Godzilla in one hand, the Oscar in the other hand. He's like, "Oh, thanks."
Yep, they had like little figurines in their hand.
And obviously his first language isn't English, but man, major props to that guy for for giving the speech and still pushing through when obviously there were some hiccups here and there, but it was so like, it's not funny in the sense of like, oh, it's funny, haha. It's more like, this is so cool. Like, what is happening? Like, what is life? Like, I felt what they were feeling. Like, we just came all the way here. This was our only, I think it's their only nomination, I think was visual effects. I was really rooting for them to get international feature.
Oh, me too. I don't know if they just didn't put in for it or didn't get it. I don't know, but I really,
that would have been the winner to me. I felt like
if I saw them all, maybe it might not be, but I really enjoyed this movie a lot.
Oh, it's so with 10 to 15. I know it's for sure below $20 million budget, and how 15, they were able to. Just to achieve what they achieved, it just melted my heart. Like the most heartwarming win to me was that. Just everything about it was just perfection. Yeah. So I'm very proud of them, and I can't wait for the next Godzilla.
Documentary short subject. The winner is
film editing.
Sorry, I scrolled a little too high. Film editing.
This is a passion for us. This is a passion.
It is. The winner's Oppenheimer. I got this correct.
Yes, same here.
This movie moves very quickly, but I never felt lost.
Yeah.
And I think movies like that kind of have an edge in a lot of ways. A lot happens in this movie, even with how long it is. Because, I mean, the climax of the movie, what people consider to be the climax, is the first testing of the bomb, the Trinity test. And there's still like an hour plus of the movie to go after that. There's still so much more story to tell after that. And this movie tells it in a brisk but very thorough way. And I felt like it was pretty poised to get editing for how they did it. Jennifer did a really good job with this movie.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, man. And her name should be not Jennifer Lame. should be Jennifer Not Lame, because holy crap, she pulled it off.
Did you?
I genuinely.
How late were you up
not,
writing that one?
Oh no, I literally.
Jennifer Not Lame. Got him. Good one, me.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. I genuinely, I didn't know like this editor. I actually want to like look up more of her projects, because it sounded like this was probably her biggest one. The way she was talking about how Chris hired her and how that this was like, she never felt like it was a mistake from Christopher Nolan, that she was a real part of the journey. And I mean, yeah, she had to be. She is editing what the amazing cinematographer captured through also the guidance of Christopher Nolan, and making sure, what his vision is captured really well with some great editing. And
you've already seen a bunch of her movies.
A bunch of I have
movies: Wakanda Forever, Tenet, Marriage Story, Hereditary, Manchester by the Sea, Paper Towns. She was an assistant or apprentice editor for. Or additional editor for Blonde, Judas and the Black Messiah, Midsummer, 30 Rock, Rubicon, The Lovely Bones. She's got a pretty big resume here. And all that aside, like, part of what the editor does, editors can add some of their own personal flares, but if the director doesn't like it, they have to take it out. End of the day, they're putting forward what the director's been pitching here. So, and she did a really good job. She seems to be she's been on, she worked on Tenet and Chris kept her, so I guess, I'm assuming he likes her.
No, and I think the editing with that film was really well done too. I think with this, it's definitely better. Definitely with Oppenheimer, it's definitely a better experience. I think with this skill set, and I think the best scene, the last thing I'll say about the editing part for Oppenheimer, was the moment in the third act where the lights just get super bright on Oppenheimer during the interrogation scene with Jason Clarke yelling at him. Mm-hmm. I think everything about that moment was just perfect. The way it goes bright to just all of a sudden it's a normal setting. Yeah. Really well captured. Even the interrogation scene, I think in the first hour or so, where you see Oppenheimer by himself, then all of a sudden it's the woman.
Yeah, the woman that he cheated on his wife with.
Yeah, that was a very well-edited sequence. Yeah, with Emily Blunt just staring. Great job, Jennifer. Just all the hard work was definitely well-deserved for this project.
Yep. Good movie. I have seen 3.7 of these nominees. Documentary, short subject. The winner is The Last Repair Shop. I got this wrong. I've seen 0 out of 5 of these. I guessed 99 WIPO.
I guessed, I believe I guessed the ABCs, because I heard that was a popular choice. I was like, I guess, screw it, I'll vote for ABCs. Last Repair Shop, but can we talk about how adorable it was that he brought one of the students?
Yes.
That was precious. That was really another heartwarming moment that I totally forgot about. That was great. She was literally just smiling the entire time. She was like, I don't know what to do, but this is a lot of people. That was her face. And it, honestly, just seeing her, that made me want to check it out. I'm like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. That was precious. That was really cool. I have no idea what the heck it's about, other than like about schools and musical instruments being for the schools, something like that, for bands. I think that seems like what the plot is about for the documentary.
Documentary feature. When the nominees were announced, I watched 2 of these in one day. The winner was 20 Days in Mariupol. I got this wrong. I guessed a documentary I had not seen called To Kill a Tiger. It sounds like a pretty grueling watch. 20 Days in Mariupol is one of the ones I saw, and it's devastating. I feel like I should have gotten this right.
Yeah, I chose 20 Days. It was the popular vote. People were saying...
I didn't know what the popular vote was for that. I didn't really put my ear to the ground for this one.
I'll say this. All I had to look up was this. What it was about. And once I realized what it was about, I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna win.
Yeah.
Like without a doubt.
This is
like,
one of the ones
just,
where I'm kind of like, I should have had that. I should have had that one.
where did you watch it? I actually wanted to check it
YouTube.
out.
It's free. Bobby Wine
Oh, really?
and 20 Days in Mariupol I watched back to back for free. I watched Bobby Wine first. 20 Days in it's good. It's rough. It's hard.
Yeah.
I don't... The most graphic parts are blurred out. They're censored. Because this is like a PBS Frontline documentary. I could not help but 100% agree with the filmmaker when he was up there holding the Oscar and said, "I wish I never made this movie," or like never had to
that
make
was
this
powerful.
movie.
Ooh, that was powerful. I was gonna get upset if they started playing music. I was like, you better.
I know. I thought the same thing. I was like, I think I said to Benji on my headset, I was like, if they start playing him off, they are out of their mind. It would be, they'd be in the news 2 seconds later if they started to play him off.
Oh, they would have been. There would have been so many people on Twitter just immediately saying ish about the Oscars, the Academy, being like, y'all are dumb. Yeah, because like it's one thing to cut off, like let's just say somebody let's just
like
say
Christopher Judge when he
won.
won as Kratos in the Video Game Awards and then had an 8-minute speech.
That's a great example. Let's cut that at least halfway, like that's great, you won. But these people, it seems like they only get like a minute or two max. And I'm like, give this guy the time that he deserves.
I kind of wonder if maybe there's a briefing where they... I'm sorry, I cut you off. I didn't mean to...
No, you're good. That was literally... It's just...
Oh, perfect. F you. I wonder if there's kind of if there's a briefing where they say, here's some categories and here's some nominees. If these specific nominees win, we're not playing them off. Doesn't matter how long they go. I wonder if they have a kind of... Because if some of these other movies won, I almost kind of feel like they would have played them off. I hate to say that. I don't like that I think that, because I think it's a very ugly thought. It doesn't make me feel good to believe that kind of form of misconsideration or lack of consideration exists in people.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I do believe it exists in people. I don't like that I believe it, but I do believe it. And I think if a couple other of these nominees had won, they would have been like, all right, move it along.
Yep.
I believe this movie is worthy of attention. It is worth watching. It is very much on the ground. To be clear, this movie chronicles, I believe, a 3-week period inside of a hospital in Ukraine during the early days of Russia's invasion into the country. It is not fun. You are not in for a fun time, but you are in for a raw time, an honest time. Like, you will see the reactions of people losing family members in real time. It's awful, but it's it doesn't get much more raw than that. Cinematography. The winner...
I'm going to take the camera real quick.
The winner is Oppenheimer.
Good choice. My choice.
I got this correct.
Yep.
I have seen 2.7 of these 5 nominees, and I got this one right. Killers of the Flower Moon had some killer cinematography. Really, really good. And so far, Poor Things does too. Poor Things has a lot of cinematography. Poor Things has a lot of cinematography that I consider very, like, artiste.
A lot of fisheye angles.
Like fisheyes and lenses that, like, where the background is like a circular tunnel. Like these really artiste choices. Not that they're like bad choices, but there's some choices where you're just like, oh, this choice was made out of like a sense of a purely not a practical sense, but an artistic sense.
Very
not
much
that it wasn't
like
practical, like it got their point across, but you know what I mean.
It mimics what the film is trying to give. Like, it's very chaotic.
Live action short film. The winner is The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar.
That I got wrong.
I got this correct, and when I guessed it, I did not realize Wes Anderson did it.
Yeah,
So I got
went
lucky
the
on that
popular-
one.
Yeah, I went the popular direction. They were saying it was The After, and I'm
Oh, really?
like, I guess I'll do The After. Nope, that's what I get for going with the trend.
Nope.
Yeah, and I've seen
Forget
some
you.
of this. The Wonderful Story. It was good. I just haven't finished it.
Yep, I got that one right, but I've seen 0 out of 5 of these. Next up is sound. The winner for sound was The Zone of Interest. I got this incorrect. I guessed
Samesies.
Oppenheimer. There was some buzz that Zone of Interest could get this. Now, this used to be 2 categories, sound editing and sound mixing. They combined it. I don't feel super great about that, because I do genuinely feel like those are 2 different things. Be that as it may, Zone of Interest had some buzz, but I still guessed Oppenheimer, and I was wrong.
Yeah, I've heard some really interesting things about the sound quality with the with the Zone of Interest, because I think the way they tackle obviously what the story's about in a way that I don't think people would expect for a film like this. So I don't even know what that means. It's just how I've heard it from some people who have seen the film, and I'm getting even more excited to check it out. Not excited and oh my gosh, I can't wait to watch this, but like I'm very curious to see the buzz for this film.
Yeah.
For like so many people were talking about it. So yeah, I mean, well deserved, I assume. But my choice was Oppenheimer. I thought the sound quality, the sound design, sound mixing, and they combined it in one. I guess all that was great.
I feel like there is anytime a movie uses silence to its effect, I feel like in the past the Academy's been like, oh yeah, give it the sound. They award it for effective silence rather than a ingenious sound. And I can understand that partially, but not to the extent that I feel like there's been a previous fascination with that. I thought I was going to go to Oppenheimer partially because of that, because there were moments where, especially during the Trinity test, the silent moments during that were very, very powerful.
That was a great artistic choice.
Yeah, but like you said, given the Zone of Interest premise, it's very much... I don't know how to say this without kind of sounding like a psychopath, but the premise is friendly to the idea of kind of just going crazy with ideas for sound. There's a lot you can do with that. And it sounds like they capitalized pretty well.
I'm happy for them, but I agree with you in the sentiment of what they did with no sound too. In the Trinity test, like with sound and without, like the build up, man, the way they mix in the music was so tense. It was just nothing but tension for that 8 minutes. It was an 8-minute sequence just building up to a moment where there's no sound other than an explosion without the boom. And I was expecting, like, everyone already had theories. They were like, we're gonna like feel the impact, but it was more about feeling the moment with Oppenheimer. And that was so good, because at first I had a moment when I watched that scene for the first time at my press screening. I was like, do I like this? That was like my first thought. I was like, is this like one of those moments where, Lou, look at me, I did this choice? Or am I like, I love this. This, and immediately I only had that feeling for 2 seconds, and I was like, yep, I am feeling what Chris was trying to go for, and it was even better than what I expected.
Well, you'll never feel what Chris is going for until you see it in 70 millimeter on IMAX at the drive-in in your old Cadillac with you and your gal.
I am still mad that we don't have an IMAX 70 millimeter. We only have one 70 millimeter, and I believe it's at the AMC Pacific Place in Seattle. and it pisses me off that we don't have the IMAX one. So I can't ever truly appreciate
Nope.
Oppenheimer.
You can never appreciate Chris's work. Ever.
Nope. Not even
And if
Dune
you
Part
think
2.
you can, you're wrong. F you. You can't. Music, original score.
Speaking of Oppenheimer.
The winner's Oppenheimer. I got this correct. Yes. It was a really good score. American Fiction had a really good score too. Indiana Jones. John Williams is amazing, a legend.
It's the GOAT. It's the GOAT.
It's one of those, yeah, but it's one of those things, we've had it for so long, it didn't do anything necessarily in the way of, like, innovation or any, like, it wasn't anything new, but it was still something solid, reliable, good. It's, out of all of these, it's the Lexus of the group. It's going to go for a long time, and it's going to be stable, and it's going to get you to where you need to go. But it's not going to, it was not the innovator of the group.
Yeah. It felt like the Elemental moment out of the group. Where it was like, it's John Williams. Yeah, John Williams did a film for really, in my opinion, bad film. But it's John Williams, and it doesn't matter about the quality of the film. It matters about the work that he did. And I thought he did a good job. It just wasn't anything like I would say this. His score didn't really do anything new with the character of Indiana Jones. It just felt like, it was John Williams doing Indiana Jones. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It just, comparing to the other films, I think it was honestly, and this is me saying about John Williams, and I love him, it was definitely the bottom tier. Like, it was the last place, fifth place for me out of these. But Oppenheimer, though, like, I got to do a quick rant about it because I think the score is phenomenal. Ludwig Göransson is, like, becoming one of my favorite composers next to, like, Hans Zimmer. Ever since hearing his score from Creed, that was the first score I heard from him. And I believe he came back for Creed 2. He did Black Panther 1 and 2. He's done The Mandalorian. He's the one who created the theme. Dun, 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 dun. Like, he's already iconic right now. And he's only going to get better and better. I'm not saying he is the next Hans, but he's going into a direction where he could be referred to in that category. Like in 10, 20 years from now, people are going to be like, yeah, this guy's amazing. And the best song of the year, score-wise, which I knew when I heard this moment in the theater, I knew this was going to get the Oscar nomination and win, Can You Hear the Music? That moment is probably the best blend of visuals and music that I've heard in a long time.
Is that the name of the title of a track?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. It's the moment where he talks to Kenneth Branagh's character when he's about to poison the teacher with the apple, and he's like, wormhole, whatever, throws it away, and he says, can you hear the music? Can you hear the music? Yes, I can. And then it goes into this like montage sequence of him like studying, and then like all these effects crashing, him throwing like a glass bottle multiple times. Everything about that moment, I think, is probably the most TikToked moment out of that film. People just replaying that scene over and over again. But yeah, I can go on and on, but Ludwig deserved it and was the clear standout to me, honestly, out of all the other competition.
Original song went to What Was I Made For from Barbie. I got this incorrect.
Same here.
I guessed I'm Just Ken. I never changed my mind between when we recorded about the nominees and this. I actually was kind of happy about this. I guessed I'm Just Ken because I thought it was going to get it. But I also believed What Was I Made For appeals to me more, personally.
Yeah, I will say I think it makes sense why it won. And I was happy for it because either way, at least Barbie got one thing. At least they got one freaking thing at the Oscars. And honestly, it was a deserved win. And it's crazy to think this is the amount of quality that's in this film. There were 2 songs that were nominated for this category. That just tells you that there was a lot of talent and a lot of craftsmanship and a lot of quality built into this. And Billie Eilish and Phineas, her brother, they are really good writers, great performers. I think I've been following Billie ever since she had her first album. Like, she is great. So I'm not mad that she won. I was a little heartbroken for I'm Just Ken, which was one of the best performed songs at the Oscars ever. Like, I will fight somebody for that because I haven't had a feeling since Hugh Jackman.
Does Slash play in that song originally? Is he in
Nope.
the...
He just,
no, they just threw him in.
He just became a Ken.
Okay,
It's confirmed.
I forget his name, but he's like a really famous guitarist. I know, because he was on the cover of Guitar Hero.
Slash is a Ken.
All right, he's in.
I think, yeah, that's a whole other thing, but best performance in years, I think, for the music portion from I'm Just Ken. But I'm glad either one of them won. It was going to be a Barbie song.
The performance for What
down.
Was I Made For, I thought was very lovely.
Oh, yeah, it was very elegant.
Lovely. Billy
very
sounded
beautiful.
really good.
Oh, yeah, I love just them playing together. I feel like Phineas is such a good big brother, to her. I feel like they hold each other really well. But yeah, like, I'm not mad about it. I'm happy about it. But I was a little sad because I really was rooting for I'm Just Ken. But to be honest, on paper, it just sounds better for a film that's about Barbie for that song to win. And it kind of, like, when I really thought about it, I'm like, yeah, it would be kind of weird for the Ken song to win over the Barbie song, and then also how, on top of it, Greta Gerwig didn't even get nominated. Yeah, Oscars, screw you still.
It's crazy.
I think that's insane. But yeah, I really thought about it. I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Not saying, like, What Was I Made For was a poor, like, quality song. I don't think so at all. I felt like I'm Just Ken was more of a, here's the difference. I'm Just Ken is more of an iconic song. I think years from now, people are going to be singing I'm Just Ken more than What Was I Made For. But on the sense of a message and on the sense of how it was put together, I think What Was I Made For won for those reasons, especially for the theme behind it. And I'm Just Ken had actually some pretty important themes behind it too in a very funny comedic way. I think that's why, to me, I find it a little bit more of an engaging experience for me when I listen to that song. But yeah, iconic, quality.
I do think What Was I Made For, I know it's a pretty softly sung song, but I do think it's a more... Oh, I almost said something, but I'm trying to figure out how much I believe it. I mean, maybe I'll ask it as a question instead of taking a side of offense here. Between I'm Just Ken and What Was I Made For, which song do you think is more vocally demanding?
I would say, I mean, yeah, clearly What Was I Made For?
Yeah,
I'm Just Ken, like, I could do that song. Like, I could do that. Like,
go.
I'm just Ken.
Oh, I'm just Ken.
Anywhere else I'd be a 10. Like, I'm already great. I'm not saying Ryan didn't do a great job. I think Ryan did do a great job. Like, what he was supposed to do for that song.
I'll submit your little audio clip there to my old voice teacher, and we'll see what he says.
I'm a Ken. I will say this, like, the whole point of the song, you know, I think Ryan did a great job for what it was supposed to execute. Clearly Mark Ronson got that out of him. But What Was I Made For was a bit more demanding for the vocals. I will say that as my answer to that question, good sir.
I had a really good time also watching the performance for Wazaze. When they showed the overhead camera down on the drum and everyone was hitting the drum, the one person on the left hitting it double time, I was like, I see you, my guy.
It was cool.
The one double time drumstick, I was like, I see you, my man, let's go.
Dude, that was a really cool moment, like a cultural moment. I bet that did a lot. Like I bet Martin Scorsese was like, this is really cool. And then you see Lily Gladstone's reaction.
Yeah, her reaction, the look on her face was really sweet.
It was really amazing. I think that was a really good call for the Academy to put that song up there. And I could see, it's funny, you mentioned the upshot where they're looking down. Totally a reference to the film in the opening when they do that. I thought that was really well done. Like, not as obviously good quality compared to the cameras in the film, but it was, I see what they were doing. I liked it. I liked it a lot. That was a really good moment.
Next up we're coming up on the finale here, actor in a leading role. The
Yep.
winner is Cillian Murphy as J. Robert
boy.
Oppenheimer. I got this correct.
Yes. So
I
happy.
have seen 2 out of 5 of these performances.
Yes! I got so nervous for some reason. I got so nervous. Killian, I love you. I love you. I don't even know you, Killian.
You've seen Killian, and you saw American Fiction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, Jeffrey Wright, he was phenomenal in that. Paul
Yes,
Giamatti, he was great. Coleman Domingo, still haven't seen it, but I like that actor a lot, and I'm excited to see him play Michael Jackson's father in next year's film. Bradley Cooper, he was great as Maestro. He lost himself into the role, like he said in interviews. But Cillian Murphy, hands down, just the best. I think the reason why he's even more deserving of this is because he is literally in every scene in the film. Like, if not every scene, he's in at least 95% of the film because the movie demands so much from him, and he carries him like he's not Killian. It's like one of those performances. Like when I watch a movie, these are my favorite types of movies. When I'm watching somebody and I'm kind of forgetting I'm watching a film. Mm-hmm. Like it feels like a documentary. It feels like I am watching this guy's story come to life, and that's what Cillian Murphy did. Like the best example was not even the way he delivered lines; it was his eyes. And those are my best.
His eyes are so glassy.
It's so it's just striking. Like one of my favorite shots is just him like thinking when he's like putting his hand over his head and he's just you immediately know what he's
and
already
the
probably
aperture's
thinking.
like 0.8.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Those moments. Ugh. I can go on and on. I thought he deserved it.
Best director. The winner is Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer. I have seen 2.7 out of 5 of these movies that were nominated for Best Director.
Yeah. Well-deserved win. And it's his first. And what a project for him
It is
to...
his first. It's crazy that this is his first.
Yeah.
His resume is so... His
Stacked.
resume is gnarly. He's currently my favorite living movie director, but I'm not like crazy about all of his movies, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I know there's one in particular for sure.
You mean
It has to do with
his
love.
3-minute short Doodlebug?
Oh my God. You know what I'm talking about.
No, I have no idea.
Interstellar, bro. You hate
I know.
love.
I'm yes, I know.
Doodlebug.
I'm aware.
But we're here to talk
Clear,
about
I don't
Oppenheimer.
hate the movie. I don't hate it. It's just my least favorite of his.
I know. It's fine. It's
I've
fine.
had a
I
lot of
forgive
people
you.
get mad at me for that being my least favorite of his.
I forgive you. I still love you.
Not just you. Like I've
Good, I'm
had,
glad
I don't
there's
remember
more
who
me.
it was. I just remember I told someone, well, my least favorite is Interstellar, and they went, that's my favorite. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies ever. You don't like that
And
movie?
you're like-
I said, I didn't say I didn't like that movie. I just said it's my least favorite of his. That's all I said.
And you're like, well, I'm going to go now. That's your favorite?
It was not a surprise that this won.
Yeah.
The buzz was in his favor. I will admit, actually no, I'm thinking of something else. I will admit nothing. I'm glad he got this. This was a really good movie. This movie felt like a story he wanted to tell. He took a couple of risks in little bits of this movie. I know that Oppenheimer's family wasn't super thrilled about the poisoning the apple bit because it was never confirmed that actually happened. And it was the woman that he cheated on his wife with when she passes away in the movie. It's never confirmed if it was a suicide or a murder. They kind of hint at both. Like it could be one, it could be the other. I can see how there could be some feelings about that. So he took some risks, but he made the movie he wanted to make, and he presented it in an excellent way. I can totally see why he got it. This movie feels very refined. And of course, because he's Christopher Nolan, everything's practical effects.
I could talk for like 10 minutes straight about how much I love Christopher Nolan. He's one of my favorites as well. But I think it might not be my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. It's definitely in my top 5, but it's not my favorite one. I can confidently say that. But it is one of, if not his most important film. I think that I can confidently say in that sense for what he's made, for what it's about. I think it's one of his, if not the most important project that he's made.
Actress in a leading role.
Yes.
The winner for this was Emma Stone for Poor Things. I got this wrong. I have seen 1.7 out of these 5 performances. When I say yelled, I don't mean angry yelled. I mean like, ew.
Emma Stone.
Oh my God!
Emma Stone got it.
Like, I'm not mad. I get it.
Yeah. And as it was racking up the wins, I had this feeling. I was just like, and then the feeling really hit me when it came time for them to applause as they announce each nominee. And I was like, they're really loud for Emma. They are really loud for Emma. But I made my guess for Lily. Lily had gotten the other awards. I'm sorting my feelings on this one. I'm sorting my feelings on this one because I still got to finish the movie. Emma Stone, from what I've seen so far, has done a fantastic job in this movie. Incredible. I can see this is a very unique character that she's created. This is in a lot of ways, her character is a very difficult one to grapple with on many levels. She's naive, but eager at the same time. And there's a lot of people who want to appeal to her eagerness. And when they do so, they kind of exploit her naivete. But she's like oddly cool with it. It's a very strange character. And I can see how it would get. I can see how a character like this would get awards. Lily Gladstone's character in Killers of the Flower Moon, her performance was like, it was heartbreaking to watch. Heartbreaking to watch. This is a character who is continuously losing loved one after loved one, and Lily did such a good time with conveying the weight of pervasive loss. I'm still sorting how I feel about this one. I don't know. But this one shook me a little.
There's a reason why I've been quiet. Because I was rooting for Lily. Everything that you said about both these performances, I agree tenfold. I think I'll first start with Lily. She commands the screen every time she's on, and she holds her own with people like Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, that's something that I can't get out of my mind.
De Niro, Scorsese, she's just like, hey, what's up? I can punch with the best of them.
Yeah, she just carries herself in such a way that you can tell that behind the scenes, like, she realizes that she's working with the great, Martin Scorsese and the great Robert De Niro and the great Leo, but she's here to do a job, and she's here to do it in excellence. And it's not like I'm going to scream, I'm going to yell all these lines, kind of like you're waiting for that monologue Oscar moment, right? That a lot of Oscar people wait for. No, she doesn't really have that moment. It's just her entire performance. It's just riveting with just this confidence, but also this tragedy behind her character. It was so well done. There's so many words that could describe how great she was, but to me it was masterful what she was able to accomplish. And she did it with such grace, and she didn't need to yell. She didn't need to like have this big moment, you know.
Yeah.
She just was.
It was a very subdued performance for the most part, and that's part of what made it so painful. Is that this character goes through so much that it genuinely feels like this pain becomes a part of who she is.
Yeah.
And it,
oh man,
it's so
the
heartbreaking.
the scenes with her and Leo when he's like basically drugging her.
Ugh.
And it just oh man, I could tear up, but I won't. I'm gonna move on.
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone though,
From what I'm seeing here, she definitely put in incredible work. I have not yet read anything post Oscars. I'm wondering if there's actually going to be a little bit of backlash for this one, because Lily got it in all the previous award shows. She got it for the SAG Awards, and she got it. What was the other one? The Golden Globes or the Emmys or something?
But here's the thing. This is the reason why. Yes, it was still a shock to me. It was really a coin toss. That's what I've heard from a lot of like inside scoop, like articles. And this one, I watch John Campea a lot, and he knows like people in the industry. He like watches all these. To what it sounded like, it was like really between them both. It was clearly going to be one of them. And SAG, the reason why it got interesting. The reason why it got interesting was SAG. Lily won. People thought if Emma won, it was an entire 100% shoo-in. But then the SAG Awards happened and then made it 50-50. Which then when the SAG happened, I really thought Lily was going to get it by just like 5 or 10%. But that's why I can't say I'm fully surprised Emma won, because my thoughts on her performance is she did a great job, and it might be her best performance. This is somebody who's watched the entirety of the film. It might be her best performance, and if anything, it's like her second best performance, because, like you said it yourself in a really good way, it's that her character that she had to create was so unique and so different, and it has a very interesting message, especially when you finish the film. And obviously, it's a performance that it has such great comedic timing. It also has very endearing moments and very tragic moments as well, when it's about this character figuring out life, figuring out what's the point of life? Why am I even here? What is going on? And how do I move forward with all these new revelations happening? Like the realization of, oh, the world is cruel. Why do we do these things? Has a lot of things to say in a very funny sense, but in a very dramatic sense. And obviously that goes for not just Emma Stone, that's for the director and the whole cast and team behind it. But Emma was truly, obviously, the star. And my heart, bottom line is this. My heart wanted Lily to win. I really think she deserved it a bit more. Not a whole lot. Like, oh, she's way better than Emma Stone. But I think Lily, for what she had to do and what the story was about, and just put all that together, I think Lily should have won. But Emma, I'm okay with. I'm not mad.
To be fair, Emma has been getting some awards for this part for sure. She got the BAFTA. She got a Critics' Choice Award for performance. So it's not like she's not getting anything. But trends usually follow in the line of I think it's the Golden Globes I'm thinking of, not the Emmys. Emmys and SAG Awards doing a decent to close job of kind of predicting some of the winners. And this was like a really bizarre one to throw off. I did appreciate, though, that Emma took a moment to shout out Lily during her own speech. Yeah, because I think Emma was surprised too.
No, yeah. I that's why
maybe not
I
quite Jamie Lee Curtis surprised, but still surprised.
Yeah. It made me appreciate the moment a bit more, because I could tell that she genuinely was shocked. Yeah. And she was not taking it for granted what she just won. And that I think she used the verbiage of, this win is for all of us. And I love that. Like, she didn't just make it all about, and she has every right to make it about herself, because that's literally what the Oscars is about, is, whoa, look at me, I'm so good at my job. That's what the Oscars is. But I appreciate her heart and her willingness to, like, make it about a whole, like, this is our job, like, we get to do this. Yeah, that was a great, sweet moment, even though I wanted Lily to win. I was actually upset, though, in the beginning.
The other reason that this win was a little painful for me on a personal level is that she's 3 months older than me and has 3 Oscar nominations and 2 wins. So,
That's nice.
So my life is a waste. Anyway,
What am I living for?
Yeah.
Billy.
What am I doing?
Oh, dude, I feel that way whenever I look at Timothée Chalamet. I'm like, bro, this guy's like my age, and he's like the face of Hollywood right now. Jesus, what am I doing with my life?
Final award, Best Picture. The
Best
winner
Picture.
is...
And may I see Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer. Emma Thomas, Charles Roman, and Christopher Nolan. So Christopher Nolan actually got 2 Oscars tonight.
Yeah.
And
honestly,
I got
it was
this.
really
I got
cool.
this correct. I have seen 1, 2, 3, 4.
5? 5.7? 4.7?
4.7 of these movies. I don't know if I don't know if Oppenheimer's my personal favorite on this list. I'd have to think about it. But I thought it was very, very good, of course. I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum over the course of this because it won 7 awards over the course of the night. I just want to throw out there, I like Al Pacino, but this presentation was
Sucked.
so weird.
It was so underwhelming.
It was almost like he...
Like, just showed up.
No.
He's like, what am I doing?
Not
I'm
that
going to read this?
You know what it made? It made me think, like, of when they read La La Land when it was supposed to be Moonlight. And it's almost like, in case something went wrong, he didn't want anyone to get mad at him. So he was like, well, my eyes see Oppenheimer. And that's how he said it.
I know. He's like,
That's how the world found out that Oppenheimer won.
I think I see Oppenheimer. And I was like,
my eyes see Oppenheimer. And that's how Best Picture was announced.
yeah. And there was like silence, I felt like, for a solid second or two.
It wasn't like,
and it was
and
wait.
the winner is, it wasn't like a big drum roll moment. He was like,
Oppenheimer.
It says Oppenheimer. it was like nonchalant.
I looked at Alicia and I was like, oh, I guess they won. Like, that's what it felt like. And I guarantee the people in the audience felt the same way. Like, the little bit of, wait, did it win?
It
won.
It was like okay.
But it's Al Pacino, so everyone's like, we'll give it a pass, buddy.
It was so
it was awkward
strange.
as heck. I felt the same. I was like, it felt like it's this, there's this buildup happening, right? And then all of a sudden, there's this guy who walks in like, so what's going on? That's what it felt like to me. It just felt like it was, we're getting to this one epic moment, and then the guy randomly walks in when it's something crazy is about to happen and says, hey, wait, what? What's happening? Okay. And then Jimmy Kimmel literally was like, after the speech, he was like, yeah, that's it. I gotta go home. I'm like, okay, I guess it's over. That was a little underwhelming. I did think it was cool, though, how he had his wife, Emma Thomas, talk. And then the producer, I believe, and Christopher Nolan, he's such a boss. He was like, I don't need to say anything.
He already won Best Director.
He's like, like at that point, you would have looked like a pretentious jerk. I'm just kidding, Chris. But it was a very tasteful moment. He was like, I'm going to let these 2 wonderful people talk, and then that's it. We're going to peace out.
Embedded in the Daily Beast article is a tweet from, I don't know who this is, a guy named Spencer Althouse, and it says, I'm obsessed with the way Al Pacino announced Oppenheimer as Best Picture. Couldn't have been more chaotic or confusing.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be memorable for all the wrong reasons. That moment's gonna be like, yeah, remember when Al Pacino was like, I guess this one, right? Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah, what a way for it to end. The 3-hour and 20-minute event.
I'm fine with it ending quickly after the speech for Best Picture. They typically do. It doesn't drag on after that. They wrap it up quick.
No, yeah. Jimmy Kimmel, I would give him a solid 7 for
I think he
hosting.
did a good job. Honestly,
He did a good job.
This he's a late night host, and he very much brought that to the stage with him. I thought he did fine.
The Trump comment was hilarious.
What?
He's like, yeah, I got a review right here. It says "Make America Great
Oh,
Again."
that was
Can you guess which former president wrote this
funny.
review? He was like, "Hey, good luck with jail time or something." I was like, "Oh my god, that is."
Oh man, that
That's
was funny.
I was like, "That's how you make all these people laugh right here." Make
It
fun
was
of
not a good idea to try to roast a late night comedian on your social networking platform while they're on stage live. Like,
Yeah,
he was
no.
asking for it at that point.
No, he was. That was so dumb. But it was so funny how they used it.
It was very funny. He's like, and like, he's a late night host. They are good at improv. They will switch the script on a dime when they know that it's going to work. And he did it. Like, God.
It was good.
So funny.
It was really funny.
The In Memoriam segment was very sweet. It always is. It's always very heartfelt. You never really know who's being left out. I always feel bad, like, when anybody gets left out. I am still kind of dumbfounded and in awe that the year that Andy Griffith died, he was not in the In Memoriam segment. I will never understand that. I did not realize... I feel like I didn't know that Tom Wilkinson passed away.
Yeah, that one threw me off. I remember seeing that at the Golden Globes first, and I was like, oh, he passed away?
Yeah, December 30th, 2023. He was 75.
Literally just, wow. Like right before 2024.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know how I like missed that. And when I was talking to my friend online while we were getting our dubs, he was like, "Who is that? That sounds familiar." And I was like, "It's Falcone in Batman Begins. Where the hell are you?" That's power you can't buy.
Yeah, that was a great performance. And then to me, the one that took me off, like totally off guard, like a month ago, was Carl Weathers.
Yeah. And then we got
That
Richard
really-
Lewis too. We've lost some big ones recently.
That literally happened like what, 2 weeks ago? Or like, yeah, it was definitely very recent. Like that was probably the most recent one, at least from what I've heard.
I just well, not Googled because my default search engine is Bing, unfortunately. And I typed in Tom Wilkinson cause of death, and it said,
Oh no!
and it says, suddenly.
Suddenly,
That's a really awful.
passed.
Just says cause of
Suddenly.
death is suddenly.
Wow.
I
great
can
to go,
only
Bing.
hope that the search engines don't say that when I kick the bucket. Cause of death suddenly.
Suddenly.
One person tweeted Al Pacino. Sure, whatever, it's Oppenheimer. Okay, bye-bye. I thought the show was solid. I thought Jimmy Kimmel did a good job. I thought there were a couple of interesting surprises in there, and this does spark me more to see a couple more of these movies that are on the list. I shouldn't say couple, I should say a few. I'm curious to see, I got to finish Poor Things. I want to see Anatomy of a Fall. I want to see The Holdovers. I actually want to see Nimona.
Yeah, same here. I'm adding
I
that
think
to my
that
list.
one. I think that one's on Netflix.
Yep,
Pretty
that's
sure.
Netflix.
The surprise movie was Poor Things. That's the one that anytime I was surprised, it was pretty much because of Poor Things.
Yeah, I really am curious to get in this. Like, I'm curious to see what you think by the time you finish it, because I thought it was a good film.
It is good.
Best
It's
picture.
Rough. It's dark
but-
and it's pretty graphic, but it
yeah.
is stirring.
Well,
So I mean, it was good. I thought it was good. I think it was nice to see a couple of the trends getting bucked. I think the category for animation, which you can tell I'm pretty passionate about, I felt better about it than I have in other years, like the year that Boss Baby was nominated or when Ferdinand was nominated. John Cena presenting Best Costume was amazing.
That was great.
I loved Jimmy Kimmel before he came out. He's like, yeah, it would be crazy if a nude man ran across this stage, right? And then when John pokes his head out, I was like, oh, that's so good.
That was the perfect guy for that moment. And
yeah,
then also,
it was. I loved it.
The one moment I just briefly want to mention that was hilarious. Reuniting twins. Arnold and Danny.
Yeah.
And Michael.
I thought about that before,
Keaton.
and I'm so glad you brought that up. It crossed my mind, and I was like, I don't know when to bring that up. I'm so glad you brought it up. Having Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito come out together was beautiful.
That was
and I love that they
iconic.
were like angry with Michael Keaton.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you SOB. Freaking Arnold says, oh, Batman, you SOB. I'm like, that is the greatest.
It would have been.
That was in.
I thought they were going to do something where they cut to all the different people in the audience who've played Batman in the past and just roast them or something.
Oh, it was just great seeing Michael Keaton. He had he literally was like Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like attire.
As strange as this might sound, I would love to see the Oscars be hosted by Danny DeVito.
Oh my God.
I actually think he'd be really good at it.
You want to know what's even better?
What?
Get the Always Sunny Philadelphia crew all up in there.
Have the Always Sunny cast run the Oscars in character. That'd be pretty amazing.
So this category, I think it has something to do with cheese and paint. Just lots of paint and cheese. And then Dennis is like, what the hell are you talking about? This is best cinematography, you idiot.
And Dennis would be like flirting with every nominee for actress. It would be terrible.
The implication. Mac's like, what are you talking about? What implication? No, it's not like they're going to say no. They're going to say yes. Oscars, please do that. Get the whole sunny Philadelphia crew.
Oh, it would be so horrifying.
Viewership skyrocket.
Oh, viewership would skyrocket. No doubt.
They would, if they want numbers back, that's how you do it. You get Danny, but you also bring back some of the crew. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
But if they keep with tradition and have the host be a singular person, I would love to see Danny DeVito host the Oscars.
Yeah,
I
that's a good
actually
choice.
think he'd be really good at it. I know that sounds absurd on paper. I'm willing to bet Danny might think that's absurd. I don't. I think Danny would be a great host.
I think it'd be kind of funny if it was him and Arnold.
It would be. It would be if they tag teamed it. I would be down for that. It was a good show.
It's like,
I'm looking forward to seeing. Sorry, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say like I could see Arnold be like pronouncing words and Danny's like, no, that's not how you say it. Like the State Farm commercial they did together, it was so funny. If you haven't seen it, it's like one of the best commercials out
I
there.
think they played it during this.
Yeah,
he couldn't pronounce it.
Neighbor.
Bah.
I'm like, I could deal with that for 3 hours. I would enjoy the crap out of that. But
yep. Good show. I'm excited to see some more of these movies. Let me pull out my final statistics here. My final statistics are I have seen 10.7 out of 53 nominated movies.
Yes.
4.7 of them were Best Picture nominees. I guessed 14 out of 24 right.
Nice.
So I was still able to.
Might be.
I was able to still get like the majority. The worst I did, I think, was last year. I got like 12. I got half. The best I think I've done was 20. I think was the best. So I saw, honestly, probably more movies than usual that are nominated. It's not like I've only seen 11 movies this year entirely, but out of the nominated movies, I've seen about 11 out of 53. Like I said,
I think I saw
you know the trends are predictable when you've seen two. They were Marvel movies, and you guessed 18 out of 24 right. But
Yeah.
I saw more movies this year, and I got less right. And in a way, like, yes, of course I want to get my guesses right, but it's reassuring to see trends starting to shift.
Yeah. No, it was a good overall. It's a good year. Surprising in some areas, but predictable in, I think, I would say probably most, but there were definitely some genuine surprises that caught me off guard a little bit. And then some surprises that made me happy and overjoyed for some people. So overall, Oscars, solid year.
It was good. I guess the last thing I have to ask is, have you the Dune 2 popcorn bucket yet?
No comment.